What's up, QAA listeners?
The fun games have begun.
I found a way to connect to the internet. I'm sorry, boy. Welcome, listener, to Premium Chapter 202 of the QAnon Anonymous podcast, the tentatively titled Jake's Takes episode.
That's right, Volume 1.
Volume 1. As always, we are your hosts, Jake Rockatansky.
Liv Agar.
And Julian Fields.
That's right, folks. The three smartest members of the QAA outfit have been executed. And while it is sad that Travis, Annie, and Brad were forced to walk the plank, you, dear listener, will reap the benefits.
I also want to say that them being the smartest is based on outdated tests that are often multiple choice.
Yeah.
There's been many studies proving that they're actually the dumb ones.
Well, Liv just finished her thesis too, so you're probably you're probably up there in the smartest thing. But for the purposes of this episode,
Jake thinks your thesis was on you being smart.
I'm done with my thesis. This is a no books allowed podcast.
Yes.
I'm finished with all that.
Oh my God, I feel like we all, the most important thing that we share, that this group shares, is not that we're the dumbest ones, it's that we're the most burnt out. We feel like maybe it's time to lay down in a blanket and go to sleep for a little while. Maybe the Bears have it correct. Maybe I should be storing nuts the rest of the year so I can take 3 months of being in the vat that they put Luke Skywalker in with like tubes. I just want to be like encased in like a gel and hovering.
You know that they had to write all of that in because Mark Hamill got into a really bad car accident in between A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. So they wrote in
that he was injured?
That he was injured, to make up for the fact that he was still healing. He had a lot of cuts on his face.
And
all
they
sorts
really
of stuff.
put him in that vat and it really worked. And they're hiding that technology now.
And Mark Hamill went on to become, a great guy. Like he does, he does tons of voiceovers. He interacts with all of the fans. He never gets prickly about stuff. He really accepts his sort of role in popular culture.
He doesn't understand how tweets work. Was this something we were looking at, Liv, where he doesn't understand how tweets work, so he accidentally does transphobia? It's like,
It was very funny.
I was liking the thing that was screen capped by the transphobe. Like he doesn't understand who posted something.
Oh man,
and he
I
keeps
feel
getting
bad.
in trouble. That's how Luke Skywalker ended up on that island, dude.
In the apology, he didn't even clarify who he liked. He was like, I like that tweet because of the realness in it.
Yeah,
but
he
meant
fucked
like
it up
the
again.
person being screen capped, but he did not
He
clarify.
fucked it up again. He's fucked it up again. That is so fucking funny.
You can't expect Luke Skywalker. The man has one hand. It's robotic. How is he going to like and retweet a tweet properly?
He needs someone to run that account.
I mean,
He's
it's like
too old.
everyone likes Hamill, but he did disappear for 30 years. Let's not pretend he had some sort of vibrant career after Star Wars.
But he was doing voiceovers. He was doing, he was famously voices the Joker in the Batman animated series.
Does he? He does?
He does.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And everybody loves it. I mean, that's like one of the favorite things that people like from his career.
All right. Respect.
It's definitely a solid number 2 in his career.
Yeah, definitely.
I am Luke Skywalker from Star Wars. Also the voice of the Joker in the Batman animated series. That's true. Yeah, his resume is kind of like, it hits so hard that what are you going to do afterwards, right? I mean, I get it. Everyone kind of was a wreck after that, except Harrison Ford, who went on to really fucking kick it out of the park. But that's because he was the vampire. He was there to feed on the sexual energy of who plays Princess Leia. He was like dating her and being horrible to her. And then, so he took all the energy.
That was, why am I blanking on her name? That was,
she wrote the book. She
Princess
was
Leia.
an alcoholic.
Yes. And her daughter is like a big actor
Okay,
now.
so
I see her all
our
the
Jake's
time.
takes forgetting the names of famous women will be one of our ongoing bits.
No, it's
obviously we know her name.
I was
Guys,
gonna be like Leia. Oh yeah, Leia Organa. That's just the name of her character. Just the name of her character. No,
Yeah.
Carrie.
Fisher?
Carrie Fisher.
Yeah.
Hey, all three of us not misogynists. We are on record as being respecters.
I was really upset the way they did her when she died in
the movie where they brought her back or whatever. Very strange.
Well,
stuff.
the second one where she kind of gets blown out into space, and then they use the Force to like pull her like dead body through space, and then they put her in some kind of cryo chamber.
ring.
I was like,
no one cares.
And the reason that they had to do that is because she's holding some piece of jewelry or she's holding some locket that contains important information.
Oh my
so
God.
they needed to get the locket back onto the spacecraft for the story to make sense. And I'm just like, well, okay, but she's Leia. She has the Force inside of her. What would have been such a better scene is she's kind of floating out in space. You think she's dead. Oh my God, it's so sad. And then her eyes open and she uses the last bit of Force to push that locket
Jake
back towards the thing.
doing
That would have
mime.
been so much
He's
better.
miming all the actions.
That
He
would have been
closed his
so
eyes.
much better. And then you don't have to have her like dead body
No
being
one
pulled through
cares about
space and then
Star
put her in
Wars.
the thing.
Half remembering Star Wars should be a recurring bit, but I will yell at you every single time.
Did you guys know that Matthew Broderick killed a pedestrian with his car?
We're not doing this. What were you gonna say, Liv? What were you gonna say before
We're
Jake?
changing this podcast to Jake's movie takes. That is now the title.
That's what everybody really wants.
It's gonna be raw. It's
They
gonna
want
be
to know
unfiltered.
they want to know what my rewrites would be.
Yeah. So yeah, what is the show again about? I think you were gonna tell us.
So
Because I'm down with Jake's takes.
Let me go.
Jake's takes, to be clear, this is not a sister podcast to QAA. This is the enemy podcast of QAA. QAA,
The
sworn
anti-podcast.
enemy. We are going to destroy it. This is welcome to the resistance.
Welcome to
thi-
Dark QAA.
I wrote,
Yes.
I wrote, yes, the 3 dumbest members of the podcast have decided to subject ourselves to your suggested content
Yeah.
algorithm, and it doesn't look good.
We're gonna regret this for sure, I think.
So sit back, grab an Uncrustable, position it delicately under
No.
your thighs, and get ready to avoid any meaningful conversation
Yeah.
on this pilot episode
That's true.
of Jake's Takes. Title is a work in progress of the QAnon Anonymous podcast. Is not responsible for any of Jake's takes. Rules and rates apply.
Well, unless you dislike Jake's takes, in which case QAA is responsible for it. Because if we can somehow bring down that podcast, oh my God, so many things would be solved. Never have to talk about that shit again.
It's kind of stormy in LA right now.
Yeah.
The storm has arrived.
Horrible.
Julian and I both hydroplaned our way to the studio.
Yeah.
He returning from therapy.
I do not tell people that I have a healthy respect for my mental health.
I writing this episode up until the last second and leaving late.
I talked about you the whole time.
Did you really?
Yeah, I was like, I have a problem friend, and he's my main issue these days.
Yeah, I'm a bad influence. I'm a real bad guy.
I would have my life together, but he keeps saying one last ciggy behind the dumpster.
One of my best friends is like that. He's a Canadian fellow.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't listen to the podcast, so he'll never hear this.
We
but
did party with him when we
we
went
partied super hard.
to Toronto.
I've never seen Travis get so drunk.
He didn't even make me turn out like I had a joint over my ear and I was smoking a cigarette, and he's like, I was like, oh, just let me finish this. He's like, oh, dude, you can fucking blast it right in the car.
Yeah, I'm like basically the entire tour, Julian was dealing with like Mama Jake, who was like, Julian, you can't smoke in the rental car. Like if we get pulled over, like I could get a ticket. Or like, Julian, you can't bring this open container of alcohol into the car. You're gonna get me in trouble.
I didn't do any of those things.
The whole time I
could
really
be deported. You can't just list my crimes.
I was just, but these were crimes in Canada. You can't get deported
that's
from
true.
a country that you don't live in.
Julian, we
yeah.
can't purchase and then use LSD, an illegal drug.
Maybe we can get Liv deported just by association.
Oh, shit.
By proxy crimes.
Well, maybe if you stopped a freaking man-interrupting her.
what are you talking about?
I hate getting man-interrupted.
You have been listening to a sample of a premium episode of QAnon Anonymous.
We don't run any advertising on the show, and we'd like to keep it that way.
For $5 a month, you'll get access to this episode, a new one each week, and our entire library of premium episodes.
So head on over to patreon.com/QAnon Anonymous and subscribe.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I love you.
Jake loves you.